The government is trying to do whatever they can to lure foreign investors back to China, give assurances that we are not heading toward a trade war, cold war, or even hot war. It will also take confidence that's built by knowing that our two governments are working together for the benefit of both of our economies and for the benefit of actually the world economy.
How did you get interested in China?
Actually, I've been living in China for the past 46 years. I arrived in China in 1979 after having studied Chinese history and preparing myself with some corporate internships and graduate business degree to come to China, because I have, since being a little girl, always been fascinated by China. And as I became an adult, China was just opening up to the world, and that only served to stimulate further interest. So after preparing myself with all kinds of studies, language studies, cultural studies, I finally managed to land a job to come to China in 1979. And I've been living here ever since, building a company, building a family, building community.
What are the main obstacles preventing American businesses from investing in China?
There's a little bit of an interesting dynamic going on with the economy in not a great shape. China growth is slow. There's a lot of unemployment. There's a lot of worry about aging society. And as a result, a little bit ironically, but we've seen this pattern in the past, the government has become more attuned to what the causes of that economic slowdown is. And I think that they perceive that the low confidence of the international investment community, as reflected in lower investment, is certainly part of the problem that brings confidence in China for Chinese consumers, and thus has a huge impact on the economy. So the government has been extremely encouraging to foreign investors and extremely enthusiastic about foreign investment. There are some very good incentives available, although at the same time, there's been a new government policy about limiting special incentives. That having been said, it is really a great time to invest in China. There are great opportunities available if you believe in the long-term vigor of the economy. The government is trying to do whatever they can to lure foreign investors back to China. Among the AmCham membership, for example, I sit on the board of AmCham and I sit on the board of U.S China Business Council. Our members are not pulling out of China, but rather continuing to build their business here. I think that the government loves seeing this and would love to see more of it and would love to see new investors come through, and they're doing everything they can to build the confidence for new investors to come. And at the same time, doing everything they can to stimulate consumer spending. That having been said, many people think they are not doing enough on the consumer stimulation side. I personally think that one of the biggest things they can do is improve the social safety net, give people more confidence in the future, but perhaps equally as important or more important, find ways to give not only foreign investors, but local entrepreneurs confidence that the government will be there to support their business development for the long term, because we've seen ebbs and flows of government's enthusiasm for private industry, private investment, and at this point, there are many Chinese entrepreneurs that have lost their enthusiasm for building businesses in China. Many have left and gone overseas. So I think the opportunity to figure out ways how to lure them back and make them feel that they are considered an equally important part of the development of society, I think that will make a huge difference. So consumer confidence, foreign investment confidence, but also the confidence of the local entrepreneurial class has to be rebuilt. This might take time to build, but encouragement about the consistency of the policy, perhaps guarantees that whatever incentives are offered will continue, guarantees that the stimulus for local consumption will also be strengthened. and continued, so we can see a turnaround in the economy. At the same time, work with our government to give assurances that we are not heading toward trade war, cold war, or even hot war. So I think the Chinese government has a lot of agency in this, but it will also take confidence that's built by knowing that our two governments are working together for the benefit of both of our economies and for the benefit of actually the world economy.
What is an important area for U.S. China business collaboration?
Healthcare is something that has no borders. When we have a disease outbreak, it's very easy for countries to share across borders, as we've so painfully learned during the COVID pandemic. And so, first of all, on the very basic public health level, we need to be talking to each other. We need to be sharing information. We need to be not shy about sharing data about outbreaks and about solutions to new viruses and bacterial resistance. And this is just so important, not only for the people of China and the US, but for the people of the whole world. On the next level, working together in medical research has given to new breakthroughs in understanding of diseases. China has a huge population with a huge diversity of disease situations that will help scientific research to understand causes and solutions. And US and China in the past have worked together, and so many good things have come out of it. For example, from one US-China collaboration on the CDC level, we've discovered the use of folate in preventing spina bifida, and as a result have prevented many tragic births of children that are compromised for their whole life because their moms had lack of folate. And that very much was discovered through a joint study with the US and China on the government level. So those kinds of collaborations will lead to faster breakthroughs for cures for important diseases. Many companies are working together on drug development, drug discovery, which can happen very fast in China. And we've seen that the Chinese agility plus the use of AI working together with US big pharma has allowed lots of breakthroughs. And then thirdly, you have United Family Healthcare. Our company has shown that bringing ideas from around the world and novel approaches to healthcare delivery contributes to the health and to the development of healthcare services in China for the Chinese people. So, for example, one area that we have now, our company has just launched a new division called International Medical Services. And whereas in our platform of 11 hospitals around the country and our 25 clinics, we are able to solve the problem of our patients in many, many disease areas. But there are still some areas that US healthcare has the solution, and the solution has not yet come to China. And in those cases, we have collaborations. For example, we have a very close collaboration with Mayo Clinic, who has an office in our hospital in Shanghai that can help patients access expertise and clinical trials in the US that aren't available here. So if someone has a rare disease, a novel disease, or a very serious end-stage disease for which there are no solutions in China, we can access the expertise in the US and help them to become part of a clinical trial or get an existing treatment that now is available in the US and not in China. We work together also with some other countries that might have their own novel approaches. And this kind of fluidity of borders brings hope to so many people. Another thing that I'd like to highlight, we also have a foundation, a not-for-profit here in China, and we are working together with the PUMC School of Public Health to help demonstrate novel approaches to the elimination of cervical cancer. We are working in rural areas, showing new approaches to screening, treatment, and prevention that can definitely help reduce the morbidity and the mortality from cervical and breast cancer. And this is a program we're really proud of. And it's happening because we can bring technology, expertise, and even funding from outside of China to help reduce this terrible disease that's actually still on the rise in China. So I think there's so many levels that collaboration in healthcare is important, and they are not trivial areas. They're areas that will help the world to be a healthier place, not only in China and the U.S., but the whole world will benefit if we work closely together.